We look at the pyramids of Giza, and we are told they are the greatest achievement of the ancient world. We wonder how they stacked the stones. We wonder how they fed the workers. But the pyramids, impressive as they are merely piles of rough limestone compared to what lies hidden beneath the sand 12 miles to the south. In the desolate necropolis of Saqqara, hidden in a subterranean darkness that chills the bone, lies an engineering impossibility that makes the rest of ancient Egypt look like child's play. This is not a temple built for the vanity of a king. This is not a public monument. It is a bunker, a complex labyrinth of tunnels blasted out of the living bedrock, deep underground. And inside these tunnels, resting in alcoves that barely fit them, sit 24 massive objects that defy explanation. They are boxes, black granite sarcophagi. But to call them coffins is an insult to their engineering. Each one weighs up to 100 tons. That is the weight of 20 African elephants, or a fully loaded Boeing 757, or 50 modern SUVs crushed together. They are made of a swan granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth, containing 55% silicon quartz crystals. This stone was quarried nearly 600 miles away, up the River Nile. And yet, they were transported, lifted, and positioned inside a cramped underground tunnel system with only inches of clearance on each side. Modern engineers have looked at this site and admitted, we would struggle to do this today. Welcome to the Serapeum, the place where the official history of technology breaks down. The year was 1850. The French Egyptologist Auguste Mariette was standing in the desert, battling the heat and the wind. He noticed something strange, the head of a sphinx sticking out of the shifting sand dunes. He remembered the obscure writings of Strabo, the ancient Greek geographer, who described a long avenue of sphinxes leading to a temple of the Apis bull. Mariette started digging. He found one sphinx, then another. Then he uncovered a paved road lined with 141 sphinxes. The path led him to a massive limestone door sealed for millennia. When he broke through, he didn't find gold. He didn't find the treasures of a pharaoh. He found the dark, winding corridors of the Serapeum. The atmosphere was suffocating. The air was stale, untouched for thousands of years. The heat was oppressive. As he walked deeper into the mountain, his torch illuminated the massive shapes in the Great Gallery. 24 colossal stone boxes looming in the shadows like sleeping giants. One of them was still sealed. The mortar around the lid was intact. Mariette, desperate to know what was inside, used dynamite to blow the lid off. The explosion rocked the tunnels. When the dust settled, Mariette looked inside, his heart racing. He expected to find the mummy of a sacred bull, covered in gold leaf and jewels. But the box was empty. It was perfectly clean, sterile. Not a bone, not a fragment of DNA. Why? Why would an ancient civilization quarry 100 tons of granite, transport it 600 miles, polish it to a mirror finish, and seal it with an airtight lid, just to leave it empty? Let's talk about the precision, because this is where the copper chisels and stone hammers theory falls apart completely. Granite is a hard rock. On the Mohs scale of hardness, it is a 7. Copper is a 3. You cannot cut a material of hardness 7 with a tool of hardness 3. It's like trying to cut a diamond with a wooden stick. In 1995, author and engineer Christopher Dunn visited the Serapeum. He didn't bring a guidebook. He brought precision instruments used in modern aerospace manufacturing. He placed a machinist's square against the surface of the granite boxes. He was shocked he shone a flashlight behind the square. If there was even a microscopic imperfection, light would shine through the gap. There was no light. The surface was perfectly flat, not just visually flat. We are talking about a flatness within 2/10,000ths of an inch. That is the precision we use today for manufacturing optical lenses or laser equipment. And the corners, the inside corners of these massive granite boxes are perfect 90-degree angles. Try to imagine carving a sharp 90-degree corner inside a granite box using a round stone ball or a crude hammer. It is physically impossible. You need a rotating tool. You need high-speed drills with diamond tips. Christopher Dunn concluded that whoever built these boxes possessed technology that we are only just beginning to understand. These are not tombs. They are precision-engineered artifacts. The geometry is baffling, but the movement is even worse. The tunnels of the Serapeum are narrow. There is barely enough room for a few men to walk side by side. Yet, somehow, the ancients maneuvered these 100-ton monsters around 90-degree corners. Imagine the scene. You have a 100-ton block. You are in a tunnel that is only a few feet wider than the block itself. You cannot use cranes. There is no ceiling height. You cannot use hundreds of slaves pulling ropes. There is no room for them to stand. And then you have to lower the box into a recessed alcove that is several feet below the floor level. How do you lower 100 tons gently without cracking the stone in a confined space? Let's look at the lids. The lids alone weigh 30 tons. They were cut from the same block of granite as the box. The underside of the lid and the rim of the box are polished to such a high degree of flatness that when placed together, they form a hermetic seal. This means the air is pushed out. It creates a vacuum seal. Once that lid is down, it is virtually impossible to lift it again without heavy machinery. Why? Why go to such extreme lengths for a burial? If you just want to bury a bull, you dig a hole. You don't create an airtight vacuum-sealed granite container that would survive a nuclear blast. There is a detail in the Serapeum that reveals a timeline deeper than we are told. A detail that proves there were two civilizations. On the outside of some of these perfect, mirror-smooth boxes, there are hieroglyphs. But unlike the box itself, the writing is crude. It is scratched. It is sloppy. The lines are crooked. The depth is uneven. The style is primitive. It looks like graffiti scratched by a child onto the hood of a luxury car. Why would the master craftsman who created a surface flat to 2/10,000ths of an inch suddenly forget how to carve a straight line? The answer is terrifyingly simple. They didn't. The people who built the boxes and the people who wrote on them were not the same. The dynastic Egyptians, the civilization of the pharaohs, found these boxes. They discovered them underground, remnants of a time before their own history. They tried to claim them. They scratched their names and prayers onto the surface, perhaps trying to harness the power of these objects. But they could not replicate them. They could not move them. In fact, there is a box in one of the hallways that was abandoned mid-transport. It sits tilted, stuck in the sand. This suggests that at some point, the ability to move them was lost instantly. The project was abandoned. The lights went out. A cataclysm happened, and the knowledge died. If they aren't tombs, what are they? If there were no mummies inside, what was the function of these black boxes? Alternative researchers have proposed fascinating theories based on the properties of the stone itself. Granite is a crystal. It is rich in quartz. Quartz is piezoelectric, meaning it can generate electricity under pressure. The dimensions of the boxes are specific. They are not random. Could the Serapeum have been a functional machine? A resonance chamber? Some acoustic tests suggest that the boxes resonate at a specific frequency. When you hum inside them, the sound is amplified in a way that affects the human body physically. Were they used for healing? For ritual states of consciousness? Or for something more industrial? Some theories suggest they were used to store dangerous materials. The vacuum seal would keep radiation or chemicals inside perfectly. Others suggest they were giant batteries, part of a global power grid that included the pyramids. The granite acting as an insulator, the quartz as a conductor. We don't know the answer, but tomb for a bull is the one answer that makes the least sense. The Serapeum forces us to confront a difficult reality about our past. We are told that history is a straight line, that we started as hunter-gatherers, invented the wheel, and slowly progressed to the iPhone. But the Serapeum is a glitch in that timeline. It is an artifact out of time. It shows a peak of technology in the distant past that we cannot explain. It implies that a civilization existed in Egypt before the pharaohs, a civilization that treated 100-ton granite blocks like styrofoam, a civilization that valued precision over decoration, a civilization that understood physics and geology on a master level. And then they vanished. They left their machines in the dark tunnels. Later, cultures found them, worshipped them, and buried their sacred animals in them, imitating gods they did not understand. It is the cargo cult of the ancient world. Today, the Serapeum is open to tourists, but few go there. It is dark, claustrophobic, and unsettling. Most tourists stay above ground, taking selfies with the step pyramid. But down in the dark, the 24 boxes sit in the silence, waiting. They are too heavy to move to a museum. They are too complex to be explained away by copper chisels. They are the tomb of the giants, not giant bodies, but giant intellects. We may never know who built them or how, but they have left us a message in stone. We were here, and we could do things you can only dream of. What do you think was the true purpose of the black boxes of Saqqara? Were they tombs, or were they machines? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more forbidden history.